Welcome to the Treasure Trove of Folktales, a magical collection of stories that have inspired generations. Embark on a mythical journey with heroes, fairies, and enchanting creatures, opening the door to a world of imagination and emotion.
The Merchant and the Devil's Father. Once upon a time, when the rivers sang at night and the desert sands bore the footprints of fairies, there lived a gentle Persian merchant in the city of Baghdad. He was not only famous for his wealth, but also admired for his integrity and his generosity to the poor. His trading journeys were always peaceful, but fate sometimes chose the calmest moments to start storms. One day, when the scorching sun burned the deserted fields, the merchant left home to travel far away. On the back of his camel were precious packages: frankincense, silk, pearls from India, and fragrant honey from Yemen. He crossed the desert, the steppe, villages, and holy places. After 4 weeks of traveling, when the sun was hot, he pulled the reins and stopped at an oasis shaded by mulberry trees. The merchant unpacked his luggage, took a date from his pocket, and nibbled at it. But when he finished eating, he accidentally threw the date on the ground. The wind blew gently, the grass whispered, and then the ground beneath his feet shook. A stream of black smoke rose from where the date had fallen. In an instant, the smoke curled into the shape of a tall demon, skin as dark as burnt bronze, eyes as red as hot coals, holding a sword that gleamed with blood. "You killed my son." The demon roared like thunder. The merchant fell to his knees in fear. "By God, I only ate the date and threw away the date. What did I do to anyone?" "Don't you know," the demon hissed through his teeth, "that the date fell on my son's heart, which was resting underground? He died instantly. I am his father. Now you must die to pay for your life." The sunlight slanted above the merchant's head, reflecting the demon's sharp sword. Fear weighed heavily on his chest. But with the courage of a man who had overcome many hardships, he pleaded, "Oh, great God, I have caused trouble without knowing it. But if you take my life now, I will die in torment because I have not had time to arrange for my wife and children who are waiting for me to return. Please give me 1 year to return home. Hand over my property and will. Then I will return on this day next year, offering my life without running away." The demon raised his head to the sky, his eyes sparkling with anger and suspicion. After a long while, he hissed, "Do you swear on your honor to return?" "By my honor as a man, by my soul before the Almighty, I swear." The demon gritted his teeth. "Okay. If you do not return in a year, I will not only kill you, but also haunt your entire family in eternal darkness." The curse was like a sharp knife engraved in the merchant's mind. The demon blew smoke, dissolving into nothingness, leaving behind a cold land in the middle of the scorching desert. The merchant returned home, his face filled with sadness. He handed over his property to his son, kissed each of his little daughters, and confided to his wife what he had never revealed. Death awaited him a year from now. Time flew by like a bird flying in the blue sky. A full year was coming. The merchant kept his oath. He put on a thin cloth coat, brought some water and dry bread, and returned to the same oasis. As he sat waiting in silence, 3 strangers approached from afar. Each had a different appearance. The first was an old man with a white beard, leading a deer with sad eyes. The second wore a sparkling green shirt, held an ebony flute in his hand, and was followed by 2 black dogs. The third person was a young man with a voice like an underground stream. Next to him was a mermaid transformed into a human. They all asked him about it. After listening, they were deeply moved and decided to stay with him, sharing the oath and the impending death. They said, "If you keep your word, at least you will not die alone." When the sun went down, the demon appeared again. The earth shook, the trees were silent, the sky turned ashen gray. "You have returned," the demon roared. The merchant stood straight, not trembling. "I have sworn and never break my promise." But before the demon struck down, the man leading the deer stepped forward and said, "Before you take this man's life, listen to my strange story. If you find it strange enough to be something you have never heard before, spare him a third of his death." The demon nodded. "If what you say is true, I will spare a third." The white-bearded man began to tell. Once upon a time, he had a wife whom he loved dearly, but she was a witch. While he was on a business trip, she committed adultery, even using magic to turn his son into a cow and his biological mother into a doe. With the help of an old Taoist priest who was proficient in spells, he discovered the secret. He cried beside the doe, his biological mother, for many nights. Finally, the Taoist priest broke the spell, returned his son to his body, and he turned his wife into a mule to work in the house until the end of her life. The demon heard, his eyes shining with interest. "What a strange story. I will spare the merchant a third of his death." The second man told the tragic story of two brothers whose wives turned them into black dogs out of jealousy, until he saved them from the curse with his compassionate heart. The third man told the story of a cursed fairy who became immortal. Living in misery among humans, he fell in love with her, helped her break the curse, and in return, his heart would never belong to anyone again. The devil listened to the three stories with great interest. Finally, he burst out laughing. "Never have I heard such strange stories. You three have moved me. Okay, I will spare the merchant's life." With that, he dissolved into smoke, and the desert wind rustled like a sigh. The merchant knelt on the ground, tears mingling with the sand. He survived, but he forever remembered the strange stories that saved his life. And that is the mysterious story of the merchant who escaped death thanks to the strange stories told by his friends. But while the king was still immersed in the mystery of the miracles, Scheherazade bowed her head and said, "Your Majesty, if you want to hear a story even more strange than this, about a Christian merchant bound by fate and love, please wait until next night. That story begins with a sea voyage and ends with the soul bound in nameless darkness."
The tale has come to an end, yet the magic of these legends lives on in your heart. Keep dreaming and spreading the wonder.